We're talking with Susan Hauk. Susan is a candidate for the Cullman City School Board in the election coming up in just a few more days. Susan, let's start with, give us some background about yourself.
Well, personally, I'm married to Ernest Hauk. I've been in Cullman since we married, which was 19 years ago, this past Tuesday. We have one daughter, Samantha, who will be a junior at Cullman High School. If you know my husband, you know he gets involved in anything and everything he can.
Yes.
I tend to be the one that's a little more in the background, but tables are turning this time, and he's in the background, and I'm putting my foot forward.
Mm-hmm. What experience would you bring to the school board?
Well, my background is in mental health, and in the 19 years I've been here, I don't think the school board has had anyone with that type background on the board. I've, by accident, in talking to some people that are working with me in the campaign, we were looking at my work history and my experience, and they said, wow, you've been working with kids and families for over 30 years. And I said, yeah, I have. And they said, that needs to be something you put out there. And I said, well, that dates me pretty significantly, but it's true. I've been working with children and families in mental health fields for 35 years or more, and I'm still working through the University of Alabama School of Social Work. I work with juveniles in the legal system and children and families.
And you have, or your family has a background in education, and that's kind of your interest in running, isn't it?
Everybody but me. I have two brothers who are educators and administrators in education. Their wives, my mother, my husband, his sister, his mother, everybody but me, although I have taught at Wallace as an adjunct in the Human Services Department for several years, a few years ago, but yes, I've stuck my foot out there, and my daughter would tell you that you teach stuff every day. People just don't always listen to it. So I think she was talking about herself.
Susan, what improvements would you like to see in the city school system?
We've got a very strong system. Strong is on the lower end of the word that you could use to describe our school system. I want to be a part of the success. I think we've got a lot more we can do. I am fully supportive of the strategic plan that the current board has put together, of the goals, the objectives that they've set out. I would like to help in finding creative ways to meet the growing student population. I think we've got to be very outside the box in our thinking about how we can best utilize our facilities, our human resources, and everything else to meet the growing student population, while at the same time trying not to lose revenue for our out-of-district kids that want to be in this system. I think we need to capitalize on all the things we have going for us to meet those needs and just be creative in how we approach that problem. There are funding issues in regard to our sports programs. As having been an officer of the Soccer Booster Club for 2 years and having a daughter that plays 2 sports, and talking to other booster club presidents and officers, I know that the booster clubs are worried about the funding of their athletic programs. And I think the school board currently has identified the need to look at funding for our sports programs a little more closely. I want to make sure it's equitable, regardless of the sport, regardless of the gender being served, to make sure that every kid that's interested is having the opportunity to play, to be a part of something other than just the academic programs that we offer. I noticed in the paper the last couple of weeks, I've seen that the County Board of Education has partnered with Wallace to do dual enrollment for arts programs, which I think is absolutely wonderful. We need to promote our arts programs, all of them, and expand those services as well. So I think the extracurriculars are very important, and we be able to, very often those extracurriculars are the hooks that keep our kids involved. You have to have a certain grade level to play sports. You have to have certain academic prowess to be a part of some of those extracurriculars, and I want us to capitalize on those hooks that we can to keep students involved.
Susan, talk a little bit about education for students who are not necessarily college bound.
That also is one of the things that has struck me over the past couple of years. My daughter, as she's progressed through school, has said, I don't know what I want to do when I get out of high school. She wants to go to college, but she doesn't know what to major in. As I shared with you, back in the day when I was in high school, I graduated not having a clue as to what I wanted to do other than go to college, because that's what everybody was doing. So I went to college, and it wasn't until I was a junior, but until I really kind of figured out what direction I wanted to go in. I think we need to help kids explore what their options are, help them look at what their interests are, what their aptitudes are, and help them look into the fields that they really have an interest in. Even if they don't end up there in the long run, give them a chance to explore whether or not they truly are interested in that. I like the idea of beefing up our offerings for technical and skilled professions, our welding, our machine operations, our cosmetology. The Career Center is a wonderful way to do that. Even if they don't end up in that profession, it's allowed them to explore if that's something they're truly interested in. AP classes are great, but not every kid is an AP student. Not every kid is going to end up going to college, or they may go but not be successful in college. And I think we need to look strongly at how do we help every child be successful in our community, not just those that are moving on to college. So I'd like to look a little more into that offering that we can do for kids there too.
Well, to wrap up, tell us why we should vote for you in the election coming up.
Well, hopefully our whole interview has kind of pointed in that direction. I have been on boards before. I know what boards are all about. I know they don't have a lot to do with the day-to-day operations of things. They're more the visionaries, the policy makers, the implementers. That, I think, gives me a little bit unique perspective of this school board candidacy that I've chosen to pursue. I've trained boards, I've worked for boards, been on boards. My mental health background, I think, is unique. I recognize through my years of professional work that whether you're gifted or challenged, you're an individual and you have needs. And I think we need to look individually at all our kids and our families and help each one of them figure out what they need and then help them in that direction.
Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Susan Hauk, candidate for the Cullman City School Board, Place 2.